on stopping us, then we have no choice but to defeat all of you.
The pebble returns to her hometown.
I'll protect everyone. Here's something yummy for you. Push forward, Commander! Hurrah! My blood's only gonna move.
This is the strength of Iberia.
Here's something yummy for you. Push forward, Commander! Hurrah!
Stand still. It'll spare all of us the effort.
Anyone hungry?
Let's make this quick. My time is valuable.
Hello,
Incapacitating them is
everyone.
enough, right?
How are we doing on this fine, what fucking day is it today?
Say it's fun to
On
roll
this
around
fine,
on the Do you think we can go for a picnic?
Sunday. How are we doing on this fine Sunday, people?
The surge is on.
Today we have no ducks. You may wonder, Supa, why? You know, where are the ducks? Where is the familiar and comforting sight of the ducks? Well, let me explain. So, for some reason, you know, I explained it in the past. For some reason, the duck game makes my PC just fucking boil. It raises the temperature of my PC so much. And now, one of my events, one of my PC events, got stuck. It's stuck because of, you know, dust build-up. There's dust build-up, so it got stuck. So I got a can of pressurized air, and you know, from the it's not a basement, it's whatever. I got a can of pressurized air to clean my PC, and I noticed that it's like rusty as fuck and it barely worked. That was like a fucking 20-year-old can of pressurized air. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather not. I'm gonna order a new one on Amazon. I'm gonna get a new one on Amazon. It's gonna come tomorrow, and then I'm gonna clean my PC. So, you know, while I wait for the new pressurized air can to come, I rather not heat up my PC. Yeah, you know what? Here's a reminder for all of you in chat. Here's a reminder. If you haven't cleaned your PC in a while, now's your time to clean your PC. There you go. Here's a little friendly reminder. Okay, let me switch to the just chatting stream. There you go. Just give a moment for chat to show up. You're supposed to be on the other chair. Just give it a moment, you know. Any day now. Any day now. It's gonna... No, there's no green aura, Sky. There's no green aura. We're not gonna mention this every stream. I got Horn instead of Eblana. How good is she? I mean, she's good. Like, Horn is good. She's not as good as Eblana, though. You know, she's not as good as Eblana, but she's pretty good. She's pretty good. Even if, if you play IS3, and you shouldn't play IS3, by the way, just saying, you shouldn't play IS3. If you do, though, Horn is really good in IS3. Will these streams be once a month? Yeah, as the title might suggest, it's gonna be an end of the month appointment. It's gonna be every last day of the month. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna have a little chat. Will you do a fan pulling stream? Yeah, I mean, I've done them in the past. It's just for Entelequia and for Eblana. There's not enough people rolling. Really, that's the main issue, is that because of Monster, because of Exia Alter, because of fucking everybody else that's gonna come, the fucking gauntlet of Hyperdeath, there's not a lot of people that are rolling on Eblana and Entelequia, so I couldn't make a stream. But for Monster, for Exia, for Tragodia, I'm gonna have streams. So am I allowed here? Oh my god, yes. Why are you asking? Why are you asking? Why would you not be? Like, explain to me, why would you not be? Anyway, I think I'm gonna have pools on every banner since Monster, right? Because there's not really any other like a gauntlet on the horizon. There's just this gauntlet. I might not be allowed here due to the atrocities I have committed. Yeah. Look, can we talk about Ascalon? Can we talk about Ascalon real quick? Let me pull up the upcoming banners. I need to show you this. Let me pull up the upcoming banners. Because like Ascalon has to be the single most unfortunate operator in the entire game, bar none. Absolutely bar none. Let me pull up the screenshot on stream. Let me pull up the screenshot. So, do you guys remember when... what the fuck is this? It's just like a gray square, what the fuck? Do you guys remember when Ascalon released for the first time, right? She was right behind Wishadel. And right, that's pretty unfortunate. That's pretty unfortunate, right? That you release right before Wishadel. The rerun, the Ascalon rerun, might just be in an even worse position. They somehow made the rerun even worse. Like, they sandwiched her between Monstra and Exia Alter. It's cooked. It's completely cooked. It's completely cooked. Like, this... generally, this might be an even worse fucking a banner placement. Yeah, F in the chat for Ascalon. Oh my god. The thing with Ascalon is that she's good. Like, she's a top 10 unit. Like, Ascalon is a top 10 unit, but they sandwiched her between units that are even higher in the top 10. It's so unlucky because she's not even a bad operator. She's not even a bad operator. Okay, good job. You pulled her on the Eblana banner. Yeah, that's the best case scenario to get Ascalon as an off banner. Yeah, you'll get account streams. You'll get account streams eventually. I'm gonna wait for the gauntlet to pass. You know what? I'm gonna wait for the gauntlet to pass. So I'm gonna do an account stream after Tragodia, because I am curious how many of the gauntlet you people managed to get. That I am actually curious about. So what are Ascalon's main skills? It's just a skill 2. It's just a skill 2 for Ascalon. Like, you could use a skill 1, like a skill 1 is okay, but a skill 2 is just better. Like, at everything a skill 1 does, a skill 2 is just better. So if you already have the skill 2 M3, then that's it. That's all you should really do. The only thing that matters in Arknights is whether a character is Jessica or not. Okay, that's true though, that's true though. Are there any requirements for account reviews? No, not really. There's requirements for the role streams, but there's no requirements for the account review. Did you see the Psyche's review? Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it's about what I expected, right? It's about what I expected from a new player that only played for a month. That's about what I would expect. Because Arknights, like, the biggest problem with Arknights, in my opinion, is the onboarding process, is getting into it. That's the hardest part, because farming is really grindy, you have to get used to the lack of quality of life features. The game is initially a lot more difficult compared to other gachas, so there is a process, and I'm not sure how you can make it better, right? Because a lot of the issues, quote, are inherent to the game's design. Yeah, Act 1 is a huge skill check. All the Arknights skill checks are at the beginning. The more you play Arknights, the more easy the game becomes. Because you have a lot of materials, you can just E2 whoever you want, whenever you want, and such. The game isn't hard for new players, that's not true. Knight, that's not true. You say that as a veteran, right? You say that as a veteran. It's like, oh, if I had that back then, I would have steamrolled. But it doesn't really translate into the actual experience. Because, yeah, you know that you can E2 and then get Wishadel supports. You know that. But a new player isn't gonna know to do that. The average new player isn't gonna be like, oh yeah, E2 this, then get the support Wishadel. Duh. No, a new player doesn't know that information. You have to account for the fact that new players are really ignorant. They don't know just how strong Wishadel is. They don't know how the support system works. They don't even know what a fucking Elite 2 is, really. So yeah, even if they have it easier, it doesn't really translate. It doesn't really translate into an easier experience compared to other gachas. Farming the blue glue is so painful. Do you mean the gel? Wait, there's, you know, there's several blue materials. Do you mean the gel or do you mean the cutting fluid? So, but will this be another 4-hour stream? I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna drop it when I stop feeling like talking. Yeah, the gel is such a pain because there's so much that wants so much gel. You know what, Stankerer? That's a great point. Stankerer, that's a great point. The overwhelming amount of characters is also something for new players, right? Because you roll on the new player banner, you complete chapter 1, you have like 30 units. Like already you have 30 operators in your account. As a new player, you don't really know what to spend your resources into because there's so many. Meanwhile, in other gachas, in like Star Rail, you're gonna have like 5 units at most at the start. In Arknights, there's just so many more units. It gets very complicated for new players. Yeah, you have a lot to juggle. You guys nowadays have the base completed. Do you remember what it was like having to upgrade the base? Having to do the fucking supply stages for base materials? New players have to do that. New players have to manage the story, yes, SSS, Annihilation, the permanent content, the base, and leveling up the new units. There's a lot to juggle for new players. Yeah, covering all your bases takes forever, yeah. Exactly, Nagato. I don't think you'd have to manage IS that early. Yeah, but a new player doesn't know that. A new player doesn't know that IS is an endgame mode. You have to tell them that, hey, IS is meant for veteran players. A new player is just gonna see a mode being accessible and assume that since it's accessible, they should try it. You guys have to keep in mind that a new player doesn't know all that you know. Yeah, right at the end field stream, I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like doing that stream, so I didn't. You know, I just didn't feel like it, so I didn't do it. SUPAH, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, I'm doing fine. SUPAH, Sound Horeg will come in 5 minutes in my house. I need all the help and motivation I could get. Pray for my survival. What is a Sound Horeg? Hold on. Is that a typo or am I stupid? Okay, there's an article. What is Sound Horeg and why East Java is cracking down on it? What? Any thoughts on the Ave Mujica collab? Okay, bro, I'm going to go off on the fucking Ave Mujica collab. It's ass, it's so bad, I don't like it. It's so dissonant. They chose like a random fucking normal ass human schoolgirls to just be operators, and then you look at their designs, they are so generic and bland. Like every Arknights operator, the native ones, they look great, they have incredibly good designs. And then these guys, they're just like schoolgirls, they're literally just schoolgirls. I had someone in DMs tell me like, oh, low-key the Ave Mujica units their account damage because then you have to look at a random schoolgirl in your account, and that's kinda true. Yeah, it could have been Bocce the Rock, that's true, that's true, that's true, it could have been Bocce the Rock instead of this random shit. Also, you know, four of them are 5 stars, and you know what happens to 5 stars. You know what happens to 5 stars. They're gonna be ass. They're gonna be complete ass, all 4 of them. They're gonna be tragically bad. Yeah, it's like Hypergraph only collabs with the shit that Lowlight likes without any regard if it actually like fits in the game. Will there be a Gummy altar? Okay, alright. Hear me out. This is my conspiracy theory, okay? Hear me out. I'm going to explain to you why Gummy altar, or at the very least, an Ursus student altar, just any, is likely. And this is not cope. This is not cope. I am going to explain to you, you know, with the tinfoil hat, why it's likely. So, first of all, Skade, months ago, Skade is the artist for the Ursus students. They posted a little snippet of a new Zima sprite and a new Istina sprite on their Weibo. This was like a year and a half ago, and those sprites have yet to appear anywhere. They have yet to use those sprites. So we know there is going to be a new Zima and Istina sprites that haven't been used yet, that Skade has drawn like a year ago. Secondly, did you guys know that Gummy is not in Rhodes Island right now? Gummy is not a Rhodes Island operator right now. She left Rhodes Island. How many of you knew that? How many of you knew that currently Gummy left Rhodes Island? And why did she leave Rhodes Island? She left Rhodes Island in her second operator record because she went to Ursus to look for her parents. She went to Ursus to look for her parents. Yeah, she's in the jar right now. True, she's in the jar right now. Anyway, she went to look for her parents. Now, we don't know anything about Gummy's parents. We know that 1, they're alive, they're somewhere out there. We know that 2, they have influence in Ursus. They are kind of important people in Ursus. And 3, we know that Calcit is familiar with them. We know that Calcit knows Gummy's parents. And chapter 16, the upcoming chapter 16, takes place in Ursus. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. The puzzle pieces are all there, you know. Chapter 16 is in Ursus, Gummy is in Ursus to look for her parents. Her parents are important, Calcit knows her parents. It's all laid down. The foundations are all laid down. That is why a Gummy alter is actually likely. 5-star Gummy alter. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the 5-star Gummy alter. I mean, she's gonna suck, right? She's gonna be like a complete trash because she's a 5-star. Actually, wait, okay, I was gonna say, has a 4-star ever gotten a 5-star alter? But yeah, there's Grey. Right? Has any 4-star beside Grey? There you go. Has any 4-star beside Grey gotten a 5-star alter? Because, like, beside Grey, it's all the 3-stars that get 5-star alters. Yeah, I think the Gummy alter is either a medic subclass, an abjurer, or she stays a guardian defender. That's my take on Gummy alter. Jessica is a 6-star. Jessica alter is a 6-star. Gavial alter is a 6-star. Yeah, it's only Grey that got the 5-star treatment. Which, to be fair, right? To be fair, as Moonlight said in chat, who the fuck asked for a Grey alter, you know? Who the fuck asked for Grey alter? How do you know Chapter 16 is taking place in Ursus? Chatter, it might be because of the giant fucking Ursus logo that's there when they showed Chapter 16. It might be because of the giant fucking Ursus logo that they put on screen. That might be an indicator that it takes place in Ursus. Don't quote me on that, though. Don't quote me on that. It might have been the shotgun placeholder. Yeah, maybe it's like that time that they announced the Monster Hunter collab, where they had a Devil May Cry soundbite put there by accident, like completely by mistake. You know, maybe it's like that. Maybe it's like that. They put the Ursus logo on accident. Yeah, of course, Talu. Okay, here's my prediction. The first Chapter 16 6-star, it's gonna be Talula. That's my prediction. I think the Chapter 16 banner is gonna be Talula. That's my prediction for Chapter 16. Now it feels not playing for 5 days of the week. Yeah, she's gonna be a Primal Guard. Sadly, yeah, she's gonna be a Primal Guard. Yeah, I mean, it feels like they made the Primal Guard archetype just to have Talula in it. Is it true that Calcit is gone from CN headhunting? I don't think so, because the CN players would be like rioting in the streets if that happened. If they just removed Calcit from headhunting, I feel like that would... Actually, that's illegal. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. They can't do that. They can't remove characters from the game. From the headhunting. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Talula is gonna power down, becoming playable. Tallulah has powered down since chapter 9. Like, she's powered down since chapter 9. Like, they already powered down Tallulah. Oh, Tallulah as the 5-star welfare? That's fucking diabolical. That's fucking diabolical. Yeah, of course Kashi is alive. Like, the whole thing with Kashi is that they're immortal. You know, they're the deathless Black Snake. You can't kill Kashi. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like commentary, right? It's supposed to be a commentary like you can't kill an idea, right? Kashi, the deathless Black Snake, they represent an ideal. They represent how the belief in something can make you do horrible things. Like the corrupting power of a belief. That's what Kashi is meant to represent, right? So, of course, you can't kill them. That's the point. You can't kill an idea. What archetype hasn't got a 6-star operator yet? That's a great question. Is there even any left that don't have a 6-star? I don't think there's... Yeah, Sky Ranger! You're right, Sky Ranger. Yeah, Sky Rangers don't have a 6-star yet. That's right, that's right. Primal Guards don't have a 6-star either. No, Arts Defenders have a 6-star. They have Hoshiguma Alter. Hoshiguma Alter is an Arts Defender. Didn't you guys know that? Strategist, right, the new archetype, the new CN archetype, the Strategist Vanguard, that's true. You know, I think there is no way... No, Nick, that's a tactician. There's a difference. There's tactician vanguards, which are Vigil and Beanstalk, and there's strategist vanguards, which are a new archetype in CN. Basically, what they do is that they support the operators in like the bottom deployment bar. So they support operators before they get deployed. That's their gimmick. So I feel like a 6-star strategist vanguard is gonna be completely broken. Just completely broken. What's the guy called? What's the guy called? The strategist vanguard in CN. What are they called? Matsukiri. That's what they're called. Matsukiri. Doesn't Silver Ash also do that? No. Silver Ash reduces redeployment time by 10%. I mean, it's kind of the same concept, yeah, it's kind of the same concept. But, for example, let's see what Matsukiri does. Let me read. Yeah, for example, after being deployed for 30 seconds, all the defender and supporter operators that have not been deployed yet gain 12% attack. That's what I mean. It's shit like that. And for example, it increases max HP, reduces their DP cost, yeah. That's what I mean. It supports operators before they are deployed. Yes, yeah, you know what? Silver Ash Alter should be a strategist vanguard. Should be a strategist vanguard, definitely. Thief archetype, do you mean something like in S? Like, do you mean like literally in S? That's a talent. What I said, that's a talent. The 12% attack buff to operators that are not deployed yet, that's a talent. Yeah, it's an incredibly interesting archetype, and a 6-star of that archetype, I don't see how it's not gonna be incredibly broken. I don't see how it's not gonna be incredibly broken. Bro, Nightmare, we're gonna talk about Nightmare? Are we really gonna do that, bro? I don't even remember, what fucking class is she? Is she a caster? Is she a supporter? Oh, she's a caster. What a fucking nothing burger of an operator. What an actual nothing operator. What operator do you want to have an IS module? That's an interesting question, right? Because you should pick operators that aren't really good in general. So maybe Viviana, maybe Siege Alter. Definitely Siege Alter. I think Siege should get an IS module, because right now she's just a complete ass. Fiammetta should get an IS module, definitely. Definitely give Fiammetta an IS module. Schwartz, maybe? Rosa? The original Exia could get an IS module. Even Hotz could get an IS module, but I think he's still gonna suck, but you know, he could get an IS module. IS module and normal module different? Yeah. Yeah, they're very different. IS module and the normal module. Yeah, even Hotz has 3 modules. He has 3 whole ass modules, and he's still ass. He's still complete ass, even after 3 modules. Yeah, the difference between normal module and IS modules is that normal modules are a lot tamer. They improve one of the talents, and sometimes they're gonna have like a little bonus side effect. Meanwhile, IS modules get really wacky. They have brand new effects, they add super silly bullshit, and they are really cheap as well. Thank you, Acro, for the €2. Bring back Mandragora. You know, all things considered, I do think Mandragora is coming back at some point. I do think Mandragora is coming back at some point, right? Because with the whole Burial thing, they're really, you know, setting up the whole, oh, she's gonna claw out, like, you know, she did it already, you know? So I think she's gonna come back at some point. Yeah, Archetto and Mizuki, that's the 2, like, big IS modules. It's Archetto and Mizuki. In IS, Mizuki is better than Ascalon. In IS, like straight up, Mizuki is better than Ascalon. Yeah, it's kinda cope, right? It's kinda cope to say that they're gonna bring Mandragora back. It's kinda cope. SUPAH, do you think Arknights will be closer to Star Rail by adding more broken operators and make the endgame content harder to go with? I say they will. They would have, like, if they were gonna do that, they would have already, but they didn't. So, like they have Wishadel, they have Exia Alter, they have Tragodia, and they didn't. The end game content is not really that much harder. So no, like they would have already. because they have the broken ass units. They are releasing the broken ass units. What is Big Bob as an operator? Probably a juggernaut like Madrock. I would say a juggernaut like Madrock. I'm not eating, it's my water bottle. The metallic sounds that you hear is my water bottle. The good part about Arknights endgame content is that it's always free and the rewards are permanent. Yeah, that's true. Arknights definitely handles endgame content way better than other gachas, because other gachas make it mandatory, because endgame content is the main source of pulling currency, of the premium currency. So if you want to roll, if you want to keep up with the new banners, you have to do the end game, and they just make it really bullshit and difficult. In Arknights, it's completely optional. The end game is completely optional. Plus, it's good. Plus, you know, it's just fun. Like, yes, it's really fun. What military do you think will have the strongest Spec Ops unit? I think canonically it's the Emperor Blades. Like, canonically that's the strongest ones, it's the Emperor Blades. Because they are fueled with collapsals. They have collapsals in their armor. Thoughts on Dead by Daylight? It's ass. That's my thoughts. It's ass. It's a horrible game. There's almost nothing good about it. Have you tried the new funny IS5 side modes? I wanna save it for a stream. I wanna do that on stream. Since, you know, they're permanent anyways. So I'm gonna save them for stream. Yeah, it's Slop by Daylight, that's true. Slop by Daylight. Will you play Silksong? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We will all be there on September 4th. We will all be there. Anyway, someone before asked what I think about Enfield. I don't have any opinions on Enfield. You wanna know why? Because it didn't release yet. Because the game is not out yet. And therefore, I don't have an opinion on it, because I didn't play the final product. I didn't get to play the final product. So, I don't have an opinion on it. I think it's overhated though. Right now, I think it's overhated. I feel like because of that dumbass Dodge controversy, people are really mistaking the forest for the trees. They are judging Enfield without ever playing it. Keep in mind, 99% of people have never played any version of Enfield, and they are just shitting on it because of this Dodge thing. It's like, okay, Enfield now is a Dodge battler. 100%, it's a Dodge battler. That's what they made it into. Now, is it a good Dodge battler? Or is it a bad Dodge battler? I feel like people are judging it negatively just because it is a Dodge battler. They are just shitting on it just because it's a Dodge battler without stopping to consider, is it fun? Is it a fun Dodge battler? People are mad about Dodge in Enfield because, oh no, they are pandering to the Hoyo fans, they are pandering to the Genshin fans. No, my hacking artistic integrity. No, they are doing what they want and not what I want. This is unacceptable. That's what the Dodge controversy boils down to. It's just people that are angry that Hypergriff is apparently pandering to Hoyo players. You know? The issue isn't if it's malleable or not, right? It is true that it is the most malleable right now. The issue is that people are writing off the game just because it has a dodge. Keep in mind, they never played it. They never played it, so they're writing it off just because it has a dodge mechanic. That's the issue. They keep in mind these people have never played any version of Enfield, and they're just bashing it. Is there any fan-made game on Arknights? Yeah, there's a few, but they're all like CN stuff. They're all CN stuff. Yeah, the dodge is not even 1% of what makes the full game. That's why it's so stupid. Anyway, someone asked a question before. How to deal with random tired in the afternoon? It's becoming a routine. Okay, so there's many reasons why you could feel tired in the afternoon, right? There's many reasons. Maybe you did stuff in the... okay, sleep, yeah, sleep, Lemao, of course. I'm assuming that the issue is they don't want to feel tired in the first place, okay? I'm assuming that's what we're trying to address, because yeah, once you're tired, sure, just down 50 fucking cups of caffeine or go to sleep. Duh. I'm going to assume that, you know, we're trying to prevent the tiredness. So, there's many reasons you could feel tired at the afternoon. It's because maybe you have nothing to do, or because you did a lot of stuff in the morning, or because in your culture, like, it's very common to have afternoon naps. For example, here in South Italy, afternoon naps are huge. They're bigger than some music bands' afternoon naps. There's a lot of factors, right? But the main thing, again, is that your brain works on associations, right? So, if you always feel tired in the afternoon, that kind of becomes a loop that feeds into itself. You start getting tired in the afternoon because you've always been tired in the afternoon. So what you should do is set new patterns, is set new connections for your brain. Start doing something in the afternoon. Obanga, yeah, maybe you could work out, maybe you could watch movies, maybe you could play something, maybe you could go out for a walk. Motherfucker, I'm telling you, okay, how do I do that? I'm telling you. Do something. You need to do something in the afternoon. Go out for a walk, go to the gym, watch movies, watch video games. but not something that you can do mindlessly, right? That's the thing. Don't do things that you can do mindlessly. You need to do something that keeps your mind active. So for example, if you watch a movie, don't just watch some slop, right? Watch some movie where you need to keep your mind engaged. Something like a mystery film where you need to solve the mystery, or something really complicated like Inception where you actively need to follow to understand anything. If you play a video game, play something that forces you to pay attention to the game, and so on. That's how you should establish new what's the fucking term? I forgot the word. New connections. There you go. New connections for your brain. Yeah, honestly, Detective Conan could work. Could work. You could watch Detective Conan. Habits. Yeah, you should form healthier habits. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You should form healthier habits. Because right now, feeling tired in the afternoon in itself is a habit. In itself, it has ingrained itself in your mind as a habit. That's why you get tired every afternoon, seemingly automatically. Face reveal, you're not getting a face reveal. Like, never. Like, straight up, you're not getting a face reveal. Do you wanna play Guts and Black Powder? I mean, not right now. I'm streaming right now, but yeah, sure, some other time. What Arknights character do you think has the blandest, most flat personality and character arc? Skadi. It has to be Skadi. Like, there's no competition. It has to be a Skadi. There's not even another contender. There's not even another contender. Maybe Texas. Maybe Texas. But no, it has to be Skadi. Unacceptable Skadi slander. Bro, I'm gonna stop slandering Skadi when she has a good character. Speaking of Arknights lore, have you heard of the people shitting on See You Soon for what happens in it and what Mia does? No, I haven't. I would love some context for it because I didn't read that event. I don't read the vast majority of events. Especially not the fucking Entelequia event, bro. Especially not the fucking Entelequia event. Anyway, someone in chat asked if I am a psychologist. I am studying psychology. Like, in case you don't know, I am majoring in psychology. That's why this stream in the title, it's like, oh, you can ask about psychology. And there's, you know, some common topics like motivation, anxiety, personality. You can ask about it, I can give you answers because I'm majoring in psychology. Like, for example, you know, finding motivation can be very difficult for a lot of people. So when would you graduate most likely? In like maybe 2 years? 2 or 3 years? Another 2 or 3 years? What's the best way to quit gooning? You know what? That's a good question. You phrased that as a joke, but we can go into a talk on how to quit addictions. I am 22. We can go on a talk on how to quit addictions. And this is true for the vast majority of addictions, right? So, it's divided in two parts. It's divided in two parts. It's willpower, just a straight up brute force willpower, and your behavior, the habits that you form. So, for example, let's take gooning, right? Let's take gooning. I know that you're gooning right now, Monica's Spies. I can tell that you're gooning right now, I can tell. Let's take gooning as our example. When you want to stop gooning, you have to replace that gooning with a healthier habit. So, for example, you don't just need the willpower to, you know, stop touching your willy walla, you know? You don't just need that willpower. You need to replace that behavior because, okay, you stop, right? You stop gooning, and then you just gonna sit there and do nothing. That doesn't help. That doesn't help because when you do nothing, you just wanna goon. You wanna go back to gooning. So the same concept as before applies. You can work out, you can go for a walk, you can play games, you can watch movies, but again, whatever it is, don't do it mindlessly, you know? Sorry, don't do it mindlessly. Do something that requires your brain to be engaged. SUPAH, how do I get addicted to gooning? Okay, so now you're asking for the opposite. You're not asking how to break a gooning addiction. You're asking how to get addicted to gooning. Okay. Well, in that case, you need to make a mental connection between gooning and stress relief. Because let's talk about addictions in general, right? In general, addictions, you don't get addicted to something because of some inherent property of that thing. You don't get addicted to gooning because of some property that gooning has. You get addicted because the object of the addiction relieves stress in other parts of your life. And this is true for any addiction. This is true for gambling, cocaine, alcohol, workaholism, sex, and gooning. You get addicted because it's stress relief for other parts of your life. But then what happens is that as you get addicted, the addiction becomes stress relief for the stress caused by itself. In the sense that now the gooning addiction is there to relieve stress caused by not gooning. And so it, becomes a circle. Yes, workaholism is real. Workaholism is a behavioral addiction. It's classified as a behavioral addiction. Because in case you guys didn't know that, there is two types of addictions. There is substance addiction and there is behavioral addictions. Substance addiction is like alcohol, cocaine, ketamine, weed, and so on. Behavior addiction is workaholism, gambling, sex, gooning, and so on. Yeah, it's the evil-ass gooning cycle. That's true, it's the evil-ass gooning cycle. What is workaholism? It's addiction to work. Workaholism is addiction to work. I did explain OCD last stream. I did explain what OCD is. But you know, rewatching the stream, I don't think I did a very good job at it. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to do it better. I'm gonna take this opportunity to kind of redo it and explain it better, if you guys want. Show us your screen, I don't wanna see a laptop. Well, fuck you. How about that? Fuck you, that's Jay. Go fuck yourself. What if I'm addicted to arguing with women on dating apps? How effective is it of a stress relief? I don't think that's very... sorry. I don't think that's very effective. I don't think that's super effective, my guy. Okay, so... I have... a whole thing that I wrote up about OCD. I wrote up like a huge text about it, just explaining OCD. And I have it in my other screen. What if I'm addicted to SUPAH? That's a good addiction. They don't tell you this in psychology school, but some addictions are good. And you know, addiction to SUPAH, that's good. They don't tell you this in a psychology school. Iron, I don't think that's a workaholism. I think that's just anxiety that if you don't go, you think people will notice and they will make fun of you. I think that's what that is. Like, knowing you, I don't think it's workaholism. I think it's anxiety. I think it's because you think people will notice that you didn't go and they will make fun of you. Which they won't, by the way. They won't. They will not notice that. I told you already. I explained this to you already. They will not notice that. They will not make fun of you if you don't go. If you don't feel like going, if you are physically unable, then don't go. Is anything illegal if you don't get caught? I mean, by definition, yes. By definition, it would be illegal, even if you don't get caught. No, Iron, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. But what if? Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. Shut your mouth. I don't want to hear it. Speaking of workaholism, I have a friend who used to have a lot of good time for himself, but works are low-key stacking to him, but he refuses to cut himself some slack. I kinda wanna do him a favor. You should explain to you should explain to that friend. That it's not good, like, for their physical health. Workaholism is one of those addictions that can really impact your physical health. You can show him that he's doing worse. You can show him that he's doing worse. You can show him that it's having a negative impact on his life. And then you can just, you know, tie him up to a chair and force him to not work. Do you have any tips for people with ADD for things that need concentration, like studying? A thing with ADD is that you really need medication for it. It's one of those things, like OCD, where you really need medication for it. But if you don't have access to medication, if you don't have access to it, something to help mitigate the effects is that realize you will not be able to focus on one thing. So what you should do is take two things and kind of, flip-flop your attention. Flip-flop your attention between them. So that you can keep a decent pace on studying, and your brain isn't gonna feel like it's exploding, right? Because I know that. I am pretty sure that I have ADD, not ADHD. I'm pretty sure that I have ADD. And that's what I do. That's what I like to do. I flip-flop between things to keep myself attentive. Just watched the Duet Night Abyss stream from you. Gacha game, they ditched all the gacha. I'm so in for this. Yeah, I know, right? It's so good. Is OCD self-diagnosable? I've been noticing popular symptoms, yet I am skeptical about giving myself this diagnosis without professional opinion. That's good, you should be skeptical. OCD, in general, just any disorder like this should not be self-diagnosed, right? Should not be self-diagnosed. Now, let me talk about OCD. I feel like we've been derailed too much. Let me explain OCD again, but way better, because this time I have a whole text that I wrote in front of me. So, OCD. It's made up of two components. The OCD is made up of the obsession and the compulsion. So, of course, you know the name, obsessive compulsive disorder. It's the obsession and the compulsion. As long as I don't have a diagnosis, I'm perfectly fine. Got it. Oh my god, go fuck yourself. Oh my god. Go fuck yourself. Okay, so, what is an obsession? Let's begin with explaining the obsessions. They are thoughts, impulses, and images which are recurrent and persistent. So think an intrusive thought but on steroids. And this intrusive thought causes anxiety and discomfort. And obsessions show up constantly in daily life. So, the obsessions, unlike the intrusive thoughts, they do not live spontaneously. You need to make them live. And the tool, quote-unquote, the tool to make them live is the compulsion, which I'm gonna explain later. So until you do the compulsion, obsessions do not tend to live spontaneously. So, obsessions are usually born from a strong fear of one or more of the following: being contaminated, like by germs and bacteria, something horrible happening to yourself or your loved ones, losing control and acting impulsively or doing something embarrassing and shameful, the loss of important objects, having an undesired sexual drive, which sexuality is considered immoral and shameful in the mind of some OCD patients, not having things in perfect order, be symmetric or following a certain logic. This is like, you know, the stereotyped OCD symptom, right? This is the stereotyped OCD symptom. This is the one that you're all familiar with, you know? And finally, be blasphemous, offend God, or live an immoral life. So, to summarize everything that I just said, an obsession is an intrusive thought which does not live spontaneously, and it causes incredible anxiety and discomfort. Now, can you elaborate on the sexual drive can be a cause? No, that's not what I said. Basically, what I mean is that the negative thoughts of the obsession can be related to sexual drive. For example, the OCD patient can be like, oh my god, I am so horny right now, but that's shameful and it's immoral. I shouldn't be so horny. Oh no, this is terrible, this is awful, I am blasphemous, I'm offending God by being horny right now. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by that. So yeah, as I said, intrusive thoughts which do not live spontaneously, that happen often and repeatedly in daily life every day. Now, the second part of OCD is the compulsion. What is a compulsion? A compulsion is the thought translated into action. Is the obsession translated into action. So, they are repetitive behaviors such as repeated checking or reorganizing, or mental actions such as prayer or counting. This is not just physical, it can be a pattern of thoughts as well. I'm going to get to that point, somebody, I'm going to explain what if the OCD patient agrees with it or not. I'm going to explain that. Just control your urges, that's not how it works. Especially when it comes to OCD. Especially when it comes to OCD, the entire point is that you can't control those urges. The patient feels obligated to do the compulsion in response to the obsession, or according to rules that must be followed at all costs, because of, as Torfio said, superstitious behavior and magical thinking. Because this can easily lead to behavior like, for example, if I leave the house without turning the knob 3 times on the door, then something terrible will happen, you know? Very much superstitious behavior, superstitious thought is part of the compulsions, is part of the obsessions. So, in fact, in the patient's mind, the compulsions are aimed to stop or prevent undesirable events or situations. However, you may have noticed that the compulsions are very often unrelated to that. For example, if you fear that you're gonna die, turning the knob on the door 3 times, that is obviously unrelated to that. And yet, in the mind of the patient, that's a rule that must be followed, because otherwise some universal force will cause something terrible to happen, you know? Or, if the compulsion happens to be correlated to the obsession, they are often exaggerated. For example, if you fear that someone is gonna break into your house, the compulsion could be checking the locks like 10 times each. What's the difference between that and paranoia? Okay. That is a good question, because paranoia is a part of OCD. Paranoia usually is a symptom of a wider thing. Paranoia on its own is not pathological. Paranoia on its own is normal. Paranoia becomes pathological when it is part of something wider, like OCD, right? Paranoia becomes pathological when you associate a compulsion to it. So, to answer your question, the main difference between paranoia and OCD is that OCD has real action associated to the thoughts. That's the main thing with OCD. It's the thought translated into action. Sure, I can explain panic disorder later. And, you know, there is several things that are part of OCD cognitive distortions. But a thing, right, the main thing is the thought-action fusion. Since in the life of the OCD patient, thoughts turn into actions, obsessions turn into compulsions, their thoughts and actions start to fuse. What do I mean by that? Let's say you are holding a baby. You have a baby in your arms. And suddenly you get an intrusive thought, which is like, oh, toss the baby on the wall. Now, you, the person without OCD, you can be like, oh, what a strange thought. Thank God I am not gonna do that. Meanwhile, the OCD patient is like, oh no, why would I think such a thing? Why did my brain think to toss the baby? Oh my God, I am a terrible person. I am awful because I thought of eating the baby. That's what thought-action fusion means. It means that in the mind of the OCD patient, just thinking about something is as bad as doing it. No, Knight, you don't understand. The OCD patient is not actually throwing the baby. They think that just thinking about throwing the baby is as bad as actually throwing the baby. That's what that means. It means that even thinking about an action is as bad as committing that action. With you having described OCD in detail, I do see some correlations with myself, yet not so prominent, and not at all the things you've mentioned are present. OCD light, still not gonna self-diagnose. Okay, so, again, I suggest you go to a professional, but of course there is layers to OCD, right? There is not just OCD and not OCD, you know, there is layers. There could be such a thing as OCD light. And in the same token, there could be extremely severe OCD. Can you develop OCD midway through life? Yes. Absolutely you can, yeah. How many mental sicknesses are there? You know what? Let me look it up. How many entries in the DSM-5? Okay, so in the DSM-5, which is the globally recognized book of mental illness, there is 297 disorders. So that's your answer. There is 297 recognized mental disorders and mental illnesses. That's your answer. SUPAH, is it normal to get mentally tired after social events like parties or gamings with friends? I had fun, sure, but it leaves me mentally tired. Yeah, that's normal. That's normal. Some people are introverted like that. It's not social anxiety. Nick, it's not social anxiety. Social anxiety is different. what social anxiety is avoiding entirely the social situation, is feeling really anxious in the social situation and before the social situation. That's social anxiety. No, I think here in Italy we use the DSM-5. I think here in Italy we use the DSM-5. My water bottle is almost empty. Okay. Yeah, that's just being introverted. Okay, but keep in mind, right? Keep in mind, there is, again, no such thing as just an introvert or an extrovert. There is a gradient to it, of course. But, you know, if you feel tired after social interactions, then you're just, you know, introverted. Is it considered a compulsion if you repeatedly get stunned because you wanted to make the right decision? No. No. Because it's missing the obsession. A compulsion, to be a compulsion, needs an obsession. This feels like perfectionism. What you're describing feels like perfectionism. Or some form of generalized anxiety. Like, a lot of stuff that a lot of people feel, it comes down to generalized anxiety. Why is the music so ominous? It's not ominous. It's not ominous. You read two stories that you like equally, both several hundred hours long in terms of their length. Is it better to just focus on one, or just read whatever you feel like and take it bit by bit? It depends on you, it depends on the person. Some people sit with one thing and just see it through to the end. Some people do, you know, a little bit of both. So, just do what you feel like doing in that moment. If you feel like reading story 1, then read story 1. If you feel like reading story 2, then read story 2. If you feel like reading story 2 again, read story 2 again. That's what I think. To avoid burnout, you do what you really feel like doing. So it really depends on the person. Why people act so differently between their families or their friends? Double personality or feeling of comfort with family? Okay, so double personality is a whole other thing. Let's remove that. It's just a whole lot of social and relational factors. It's, you know, the relationship you have with your family. It changes the communication entirely. And of course, you're not gonna have the same relationship with a friend or with a stranger. Communication and how you behave instinctively very much changes depending on the relationship you have with who you're talking to. I think it's a common sense to have all mental health related things or are some kind of gradient. Yes, that's true. There is two main concepts that I learned while studying all of this. There is two great concepts that you have to always keep in mind. One, it's almost always a gradient. Whatever you're talking about, it's almost always a gradient. And number two, there is almost never blanket statements. Almost never blanket statements. If someone gives you a blanket statement, 99% of the situations, that's not true. If you hear a blanket statement, you should distrust it. You should distrust blanket statements. Thoughts on Eblana event and boss? I like the mechanic. I like the Eblana event mechanic. The boss was kind of a nothing burger. It was kind of a nothing burger boss. I like that it flies, because we don't have many flying bosses in Arknights, so there's that. Right, Nick, I was gonna explain panic disorder. I was gonna explain people with panic disorder. What is a blanket statement? A blanket statement is a statement in absolutes. What do I mean by that? It's a statement like every person with OCD hates their sexuality. That's a blanket statement because I said every person with this does this. You know? That's a blanket statement. If I say every SUPAH chatter is a little dumb, that's a blanket statement. And it's not correct because only 95% of you are a little dumb. So that's what a blanket statement is. It's just a statement that encompasses everything. It's a statement that encompasses every possible outcome, every possible variable. So for example, if you hear an incel make a generalized statement about women, that's a blanket statement. Is I'm fine a blanket statement? No. Because you're just assessing yourself. A blanket statement needs a population to be applied to. It needs a wide population to be applied to. You can't do a blanket statement about yourself, right? Of course, if you say I'm fine, that could be misrepresentative. That could be a lie. Of course, it could still be untrue. Yeah, exactly, Nicole. Saying every person with BPD is evil, that's a blanket statement. And as I said, you should always be distrustful of blanket statements. It can be about not people, right? What's the difference with a stereotype? There is no difference. There is no difference. A stereotype is a blanket statement, yeah. There is no difference. A stereotype is a blanket statement. What is BPD? Borderline personality disorder. I can explain borderline. No, it's not bipolar. It's not bipolar, it's borderline. I know, the acronym is confusing. I know, the acronym is a little confusing. You're not the first person I meet that thinks it's bipolar. Psychopaths/sociopaths are evil. Yeah, that's a blanket statement too. Also, chat, did you know that there is no difference between a psychopath and a sociopath? They're the same thing. They're synonyms. They're synonyms. They're the same thing. Like, so far, there is no real difference. They're actually the same thing. Yeah, bipolar disorder and borderline disorder are different. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, I mean, it's not... I can't explain how. They're the same thing. Like, both psychopathy and sociopathy are the same thing. I thought a psychopath has violent tendencies. A sociopath too can have violent tendencies. There is no difference. Yeah, it's just people who lack empathy. No, they're not different. There is a proposed difference. There is a proposed difference, which is psychopaths are born psychopaths, while sociopaths become sociopaths. But that's like, that's kind of like fucking astrology bullshit, you know? That's kind of zodiac sign bullshit. It's just kind of something that people made up to differentiate them, because otherwise there's no difference. No, they're not different. That's what I'm saying. They're not different. They're the same thing. Yeah, blanket statements are very stupid. I'm gonna go fill my water bottle. I'm gonna put up an Annihilation for you people to watch. Some Arknights Annihilation. Let's see, what Annihilation can I put? Sure, Rest Avenue. I completely forgot how I did this one. Okay, I'm gonna go to fill my water bottle. Is it good to buy Gnosis? Not really. I mean, he's really good. Like, Gnosis is really good, but I don't think he's worth the search. Alright, you people watch the Annihilation, I'll be back. So I just arrive and SUPAH leaves. Yeah, man, unlucky timing, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm gonna fill this water for 30 minutes so that you can watch all of the Annihilation. No, Skadi Alter is not a Skadi. Like, literally speaking, this is not a Skadi. This is a different character. That's the entire point, that this is not Skadi. This is Isharmla. This is a seaborn god named Isharmla that is possessing Skadi. It's literally a different character. Like, that's literally the entire point of Skadi Alter. Okay, do you guys want the Annihilation gameplay on like a fucking Subway Surfer like thing? Hold on, I'm gonna I'm gonna put it here so you can be entertained. Yeah, so you can be entertained while we talk. Rotate it, like, so it's vertical. So it's vertical for the vertical screen, like, hold on. How the fuck do I rotate it? Hold on. Oh, no, that's my avatar. That's my avatar that I'm moving. How do I rotate this? Hold on. Oh, there you go. There you go. Is this good? Do you like this? Do you like this? Yeah, we need to add a TV to the background. Wait, let me... There you go. Like that. What is your opinion on the statement relationships are like habits? It can be true in many ways. It can be true in many ways. My neck doesn't like this. Okay, so a relationship is like a habit because eventually, right, living with your partner as a part of your life, that is like a habit. Eventually, you know, how you interact with your partner, that's also gonna become a habit. Like purely from a mind point of view, it's true, you form habits. Not really. We're not really talking romantic relationships. I mean, I can talk about it. But... On the topic of Subway Surfer, can you talk about TikTok brain attention span? Okay, so the TikTok thing is a lot more nuanced than a lot of people give it credit for. It's a lot more nuanced than people give it credit for. Because it's two-sided, there's two sides to this. Of course, there's TikTok, there's the tool, which is given to the Zoomer. And of course, with such a tool that is basically made to shorten your attention span, of course that tool is gonna have a big impact on said attention span. It is literally made to be as addictive as possible. So, of course, the tool that is made to give you brain rot is gonna give you brain rot more efficiently. But there is another side to this, and that is that humans in general have always done this. This short attention span thing is not new for the human race. It's not a new thing. It's just that with these tools, it is becoming exaggerated. Fuck, where was I going with this? I read a question in chat and it completely erased my train of thought. Do you think Vine would have gone TikTok if it didn't shut down? Yes, because TikTok is Vine. TikTok is a direct evolution of Vine, so yeah. Do you think the war on drugs should include TikTok? If it is to include TikTok, it should also include gambling and alcohol. But honestly, yeah, I think we should limit people's access to TikTok. I think in some way it should be limited, because clearly it's not doing good. Like, yeah, this is something that is kind of ingrained in humans. The short attention span is something inherent to humans as a species. But, you know, clearly TikTok is not helping. Do you think you losing your train of thoughts like that easily is a form of TikTok brain rot? No, I think I just have ADD, man. I just think I have some form of attention disorder. Like, genuinely. And I don't use TikTok. Like, that's the thing. I don't use short form apps. I don't use TikTok. I don't use Instagram. I don't use YouTube Shorts. I don't use any of it. Can a psychologist diagnose themselves? They can, doesn't mean they should, but they can. You know? Doesn't mean they should. Okay, let me explain a panic disorder. I feel like we've been sidetracked way too much. So, panic. What is a panic disorder? What's the word? What's a panic disorder? Fuck, what does it mean? What is it about? What is it about? What does it mean? Basically, it's, as the name would imply, a tendency to have panic attacks. Now, these panic attacks can happen in two forms. They can be predicted panic attacks or unpredicted panic attacks. What does that mean? Unpredicted panic attacks are panic attacks that just happen. They happen without any discernible reason. They just occur, and you can't pinpoint any reason for them to happen. It's basically RNG. It's a panic attack RNG. At any moment, it could happen, for no reason. Meanwhile, a predicted panic attack is something where you can pinpoint a reason for it to happen. For example, right, I've actually had a panic disorder for a little bit in my life. I've had panic disorder, so I can explain on a more personal level. In my case, for the 5 years that I had panic disorder, it would happen any time that I saw or interacted with my father, right? In that case, that would be a predicted panic attack because you can pinpoint an exact reason. However, the thing with a predicted panic attack, they don't always happen, right? It's not a 100% chance trigger. Sometimes you can be exposed to the trigger and have it not happen. How can I know if what I experience is a panic attack or not? Good question, Nicole. I was getting into that. Good question. A panic attack is made of 3 components, which are the same components as anxiety, actually. And I'm gonna talk later about the link between anxiety disorders and panic disorders. So, it's made of 3 components: the physical, the cognitive, and the behavioral. Let me drink and I'm gonna explain. So, the physical component is something like heart palpitations. You can feel your heart beating really fast, or you start sweating, or you start trembling, or you feel tightness and discomfort and pain in your chest. That is the physical component of it. Yeah, I'm drinking water, I'm keeping hydrated. Fuck, I was gonna say something. I lost my train of thought again. Okay, so, physical component, yeah. I was gonna say, physical pain can happen from negative emotions. People that are having, like, a depressive breakdown, for example, can feel physical pain from it. Sadness, fear, panic can cause physical pain. So, That's the physical component of it. Sweating, trembling, heart palpitation, and feeling pain or tightness in the chest. Then there's the cognitive component. This is your thoughts, this is your actual fears. For example, you can fear something terrible is going to happen, you can fear you are going to die. That is very common in panic attacks, that you really think you're going to die. Or you fear... in general, it's an exaggerated fear of something terrible that is about to happen. That's the cognitive part of it. Finally, the behavioral part of a panic attack is your behavior during it. It could be isolating yourself. It could be desperately searching for reassurance. It could be crying and going into a fetal position on the bed. That's the three components. Does anyone have any question? Does anyone have any questions before I continue? Because there is one more component I wanted to explain, and that is the link between anxiety and panic disorders. There is a link between them. What are your thoughts on piracy? I think piracy is always moral. No exception, always moral. Okay, Soulism, I feel like that's not related to the topic at hand. It's mating press, but that's not really related to the topic at hand. So, Fragile A, how can you overcome a panic attack? That is a great question. So, you need to realize a fundamental concept. You need to realize a fundamental concept at the core of everything. Is that anxiety and panic attacks, they are rooted in unreality. They are rooted in something that is not real. They are not rooted in reality. They are ultimately imaginary. Your fears, your panics, the reason you are panicking is imaginary. What do I mean by that? Exaggerated anxieties about your future. They are imaginary. So, to combat a panic attack, you need to reattach yourself to reality. Of course, you can, get medication for it as well, but I'm assuming that you don't have access to medication. You need to tether yourself back to reality. How do you do that? You can... the first immediate layer is you need to just focus on something around you. Again, Dak Tota the Colossus, I'm assuming you don't have medication. So, let's say you are having a panic attack, right? To tether yourself back to reality, you could look at something around you and focus on that. For example, I have a wallet on my desk. I have, from Star Rail, I have this wallet on my desk. If I had a panic attack, I could just focus all my attention on this wallet and mentally note every detail I could about it. Let me give you a practical example of this, because I have a practical example. I have helped people through panic attacks. So I can explain it. So, I'm not gonna name names. But at one point, there was this Discord friend who was DMing me, and they had a panic attack. They were having a panic attack. And if I remember correctly, it was an unpredicted panic attack. So it just happened all of a sudden. And they were DMing me. They were outside on a bench. And I was like, okay, what is around you? What do you see around you? And they were like, oh, there were cars. There's cars around me. And so I was like, okay, cars, beautiful. What color is the car? You know, what brand is the car? Is there anything you think about cars and stuff? And so I kept asking them very mundane, very simple questions about the direct reality around them. And that eventually got them out of the panic attack, because I took them out of their own head and I put them back into reality with very simple things. I talked about the color of the cars and then very other, really stupid, mundane shit. This is not a distraction, heretic lolly. YouTube user, heretic lolly. This is not a distraction. This is an anchoring. I anchored the person back to reality. The difference is that an anchoring requires the person to think. It requires the person to make their mind work. And that pulls them out of the panic attack, because they are returning to reality. Yeah, it's a snap back to reality. There you go. Snap back to reality. So if you are having a panic attack, you need to do that as well. You need to tether yourself back to reality by focusing on something real that is around you. Even something very mundane, even like the color of the cars around you. Even, something really stupid like that. That's how you combat a panic attack. That's the easiest and most direct way to do it. Of course, once the panic attack subsides, you can, confront your fear now that you're calmer. So that's about it. What about panic resistance instead of panic attack? Su quell'eroe di cui non ci meritiamo, ma di cui abbiamo bisogno. Non ci meritiamo, è vero. Non mi meritate per niente. Per niente. Nessuno di voi. Tranne Sky e Iron. Loro hanno un pass. Loro gli posso dare un pass. Forse anche Soulism. Anyway, let's go back to reality. Let's go back to English. No, Nick, I said the opposite. I said that broccoli does belong on pizza. Broccoli is good. Broccoli is a good food. I like broccoli and it belongs on pizza. Pizza with broccoli as one of the ingredients is incredibly good. It's incredibly good. I'm gonna show you immediately. I'm gonna pull up a picture, so you're gonna understand what I mean. Okay. I mean, you're gonna see my truth. You're gonna see my truth when I pull up this picture. You're gonna see my truth. There you go. This is a pizza with mozzarella, broccoli raibs, and sausage. This is one of the most common and popular pizzas in Italy. This is one of the most popular and common pizzas in Italy. The green stuff, that is broccoli raibs. And it's really good. But okay. That's, that's broccoli raibs. What about something with actual broccoli, right? Something with actual broccoli. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find the pizza that I mean. No. Oh, yes. Okay, yes, okay. Here's the pizza that I mean. It's not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same. But, it's close enough, Let me pull it up. Here it is. Here it is. So, instead of the red stuff here, I don't know what the red stuff is. Imagine sausage. Imagine sausage again. The green stuff, that is actually broccoli. That is actual broccoli. Now, what is on this? It's broccoli, sausage, mozzarella, and spicy oil. This is the best shit ever. This is the best shit ever. Also, yes, I do play Balatro. I do play Balatro. It's pretty good. I'm waiting for the update. I'm waiting for the update on Balatro because right now Blue Steak just makes the game really unenjoyable. Like Blue Steak alone just makes the game really unenjoyable. Just Blue Steak invalidates like half the jokers in the game, and it makes 5 card hands completely unusable. So that's why I'm not playing Balatro as much. I'm waiting for the update that's gonna fix Blue Steak. How well do you think your Arknights changed the video age? It aged beautifully. It aged like fine wine, that video. Because everything I said in that video, it just, got worse over time. There's just, more of it. Do pickles or cucumbers belong on pizza? It depends on the pizza, right? It depends on the pizza. Because at the end of the day, pizza is just dough. It's just dough in a circular shape. So, if you complement the pickles or the cucumbers with something else that actually fits the pickles, it can work. Of course, if you just put pickles on a fucking margherita pizza, that's not gonna work. Of course. What do you think about strategy games in general? Total War series, Paradox Interactive, Hearts of Iron 4, Civ series. I think they're boring, man. I think they're boring as fuck. Like, I tried those, they're boring as all hell. Like, I don't get how you spend the day just looking at a map. I don't get that. There's people who eats pizza with hamburgers on it. You know what? I see the vision. I see the vision because here in Italy we have a pizza with meatballs on it. We have a pizza with meatballs on it. So, hamburger, I see the vision. Pizza with hamburger, I don't think I would like it. I don't think I would like it. But I see the vision. Do you plan to play older Monster Hunter games? Not unless they get a port. Like, not unless they get an official PC port. What do you think about pineapple and bacon on pizza? Bacon can work. Like, bacon can work on pizza. Pineapple, I don't like pineapple. Just in general. I don't like pineapple. That's the thing, I just don't like it. Is that not how you say bacon? Is that not how you say bacon? Okay, smartass. How do you pronounce it then? Smartass? Fuck you. Bacon? Bacon? You're fucking crazy. Bacon? You want me to sit here and say bacon? You're fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy. Bacon? You're fucking crazy. You're insane. You're insane. You've lost your mind. You've completely lost your mind. I'm not gonna say bacon. I'm gonna say bacon. Because that's how you're meant to say it. That's how the Godfathers, that's how the founding fathers intended us to say that. It's bacon. Oh, okay, soulism. You're gonna call me insane? You're over there saying bacon? Like a fucking moron. It's a bacon in Bulgaria too? Yeah, see? Silvergun agrees. It's a bacon, not a bacon. What the fuck? What the fuck is this indoctrination? What is this fucking indoctrination that the chat is trying to do on me? Yeah, it's bacon in Poland as well. See? There you go. There you go. We have Italy, Bulgaria, Poland, all agree on bacon. And you know, that's the only countries that matter anyway. You know, that's the only countries that matter anyway. Same in Russian, there you go. Same in Russian. Maybe you English people, you Englishmen, are the weird ones for saying bacon. You guys are the weird ones. It's a bacon. Absolutely, it's bacon. Okay, what? Bacon is plural. Bacon is singular. What the fuck? That's... I feel like I got like a little stun locked from that. What the fuck? Yeah, the great bacon crash out of 2025. Plural of bacon is bacons. Yeah, it's bacons. In Spain, we pronounce it bacon, same in English. I mean, but Spain is kind of cringe. Like, think about it. Spain is just kind of lesser Italians. It's just Italy, but worse, if you think about it. If you think about it, Spain is just Italy, but worse. You know, if you really use your brain for it, you will realize that fact. Spain is a little cringe, I agree. Oh, is the auto gonna fail? Oh no, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Why would bacon be pronounced with an E sound? Oh, okay, smartass. How do you pronounce A? How do you pronounce A? Huh? How do you pronounce the letter A? Huh? It's bacon. Because the letter A, you pronounce it like A. So it's bacon. It's bacon. Oh my god, this is like that Jaya thing all over again. This is like that Jaya thing all over again. By the way, the operator, it's a Jaya, it's not a J, it's a Jaya. I don't care what any of you say. I hope your auto fails, bro. Now watch this, we're gonna cook. Watch this. Look at that. Boom, cooked a nice dish. Yeah, this is exactly why the Gauls got wiped out from Terra, true. Why game window on the side? It's meant to be a joke like brain rot, because brain rot is always vertical. So that's the joke. We put it vertical because, you know, Subway Surfer brain rot is vertical. Yeah, sure, let's do the most... let's do the most recent one. Best example for me is you write England, say England, referring to the island of the Anglicans. Change the name to English to pretend they can pronounce anything. Yeah, it's such a stupid language. Bro, fucking English pronunciations, they are fully based on vibes. There is no rhyme or reason, it's just vibes and like dice rolling. There was like a guy, fucking John England, back in the 1800s, Mr. John England, who fucking rolled the dice to decide all the pronunciations. What do you propose as a better universal language? Minecraft enchanting table. Is that John England or John England? True. You know, maybe there's both. Maybe they're brothers. There's John England and there's John England. Maybe they're brothers. Your video made me play Arknights. Which video? Which video are you referring to? I have like 200 videos. Yeah, that's why every English-speaking country can never agree on the pronunciations. How would you sound like when you're surprised? Ah! Oh! Whoa! Wowzer! Something like that. So I hope you enjoyed my dramatic reenacting. The one who compared Arknights with other gachas. Oh, okay, so like the recent one, right? The recent one, which is like why Arknights is the best gacha 7 years later. What about Mamma Mia? Oh, that's rare. I need to be like really off guard, you know, to let out the Mamma Mia. I need to be very off guard, you know, for the Italian beast to come out. Man, you know, I completely forgot that Durnar has a skin. Like, I completely forgot that Durnar got a skin. I got jump scared when I saw the Durnar skin in the shop. Me watching the 10th video telling me why Arknights is the best gacha. Yeah. You know what? I feel bad for the people that just joined, because they joined right in the middle of like the fucking back on pronunciation Crashout. They missed all the like really educational and intelligent talk about like OCD and panic disorders and, you know, other psychology stuff. You know, you missed the smart psychology SUPAH. You got the fucking back on the Crashout SUPAH instead. Somehow I really love your accents and your videos are so funny. I know. My videos are great. My videos are really funny. And you know, believe it or not, the accent, the accent is not fake, believe it or not. Believe it or not, this is just how I speak. Yeah, that's true, Silvergun, you have 3 years in psychology, you don't need to hear me explain things, you know already. The accent is the reason 90% of the audience is here, that's fair. That's fair. You guys wanna know something funny? You guys wanna know something really funny? Before I started the channel, before I started this wonderful channel, I sincerely thought, honestly thought that I didn't have an accent. I know, I'm sure a lot of you right now are just belly laughing hearing me say that, but it's true. Before I started the channel, I sincerely believed that I didn't have an accent. And then, you know, when I started the channel, the comments kindly informed me of the contrary. The comments kindly informed me of the opposite, that indeed I do have quite an accent. My local Italian drag queen sounds exactly like that, and she is also very funny. Hey man, thank you for the comparison. Thank you for the comparison. You know, if she is really funny, then it's good to know I'm really funny as well. Oh hey Clay. Hi Clay, how are you doing? Yeah, local Italian drag queen is a fucking sentence. Didn't have an accent? I don't know, honestly, I don't fucking know, honestly. I just thought that my accent wasn't recognizable. I thought it wasn't really like a super recognizable national accent. And you know, I was kindly informed of the contrary. I was... you know, when I started the channel, the comment section kindly informed me of the contrary, so... Local Italian drag queen, so vigil. Yeah, vigil. I would say more figurino, though. I would say figurino, actually, not vigil. I would say figurino. Do you gesture with your hands that much to the point of accidentally hitting the mute button? Yes, I did that, Minku, I did that. in like my previous stream, in my previous Just Talking stream, I accidentally hit the mute button by gesturing. Like, you guys don't see me, of course, you see the Lapland PNG tuber, but I am gesturing a lot when I talk. Yeah, I got kidnapped and then started talking about broccoli, yeah. Duke, I think Lapland, Texas, all the Syracusan characters, I think they gesture when they talk. It's just, you know, they are still sprites, so you can't see that because they're, you know, still sprites. What made you pick Lapland as your avatar? It's just because she's Italian and unhinged. That's why. She's Italian and I'm Italian. And she's unhinged, and I tend to say some kind of unhinged things from time to time. Chat, we gotta remind SUPAH to unmute every 10 minutes, yeah. Yeah, true though. Jess, Texas barely even talks, that's true. I love SUPAH's voice, but I can't help but think it'd be even better with a $10,000 fully rigged brat model for us to bully. Do you mean like Chibidoki? Do you mean like what a Chibidoki has? Is that what you mean? Yeah, this annihilation map would be really easy with you. You know, this was before you came out, though. Why is the Arknights gameplay rotated? The joke is that this is supposed to be brain rot. So, oh, they're gonna leak. Oh, the auto is gonna leak, wow. This is supposed to be a brain rot. So it's flipped vertically, because all brain rot is flipped vertically. That way the Australians can watch and learn. That's not even the right joke. Australians are upside down. They're not sideways, they're upside down. That's not even the right joke. Okay, let's do this one. This is a vintage clear. Look at this. This is a vintage clear. I've been here for 15 minutes and you explained the joke twice. I know, but you know, if people ask, if people have to ask. Can you duplicate the screen a few times? Okay. I can duplicate the screen a few times. I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna make it smaller each time. Oh wait, oops. Okay, I'm gonna make it smaller each time. We're gonna have like a matryoshka of Arknights gameplay. There you go. Is that good? Do you guys like this gameplay? Make them dominoes. Yeah, they're kind of like dominoes right now. Put the guy in the right corner. I think I'm gonna get like the copyright struck if I do that. Need text on the screen and some random scene from American Psycho to finish it. Okay, wait, let's put text. I can put text. Hold on. I can put text. Where is the text option? Okay. Let me put my usual font. Okay. There you go. So, we can type something, chat. What do we type? What do we type, chat? This is gonna be up for the whole stream. Oh, well, for the whole rest of the stream. Minion meme? Okay, maybe I'll add a minion meme. Oh, explain the vertical... True, I needed to explain the vertical screen joke. Screen is vertical for the Australians. There you go. That explains the joke. Let me change the color so it's actually readable. Is that readable? Fuck, what is a readable color? Is it like orange? Maybe is it readable against this? Okay, there you go. You guys will have to do. Make it bright green. Okay, maybe that's a good idea. Bright green. There you go. There you go. There you go. We are vertically challenged. This is like Renegade's video DLC. Passion is our graphic design. Alright, since it's for the Australians, I need to rotate it as well. There you go. Now it's rotated. It's rotated in the opposite direction. There you go. There you go. Let me find a minion meme to put. Minion meme Facebook. I need to specify Facebook. Oh, this one. I like this one. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna put it on the screen. There you go. Okay. I hope you guys like the minion meme. Okay. All right, we can't cover Jess. All right, yeah, okay. Let's add Jessica because you know since we covered the Jessica plush, we needed to add Jessica back in. You know, we needed to put Jessica back in because we covered her. Okay, let me find something. Let me find something. There you go. There you go. Oh god, that's a big image. Oh my god, that's a big ass image. Okay, there you go. There you go. There's Jessica. Jessica is back. There you go. The opacity, so it's barely visible now. Okay. Right, we have to add Obama. If you guys are not in on the Obama joke, let me explain the Obama joke real quick. On the previous streams, we had a little graphic design session where we made the thumbnail for said stream. Let me show you the previous works that we made for graphic design. Let me show you. There you go. These are our previous thumbnails that we made. It was absolute cinema. And as you can see, in both of them, there is the same Obama PNG in both of them. So, now it's kind of a running joke. Every time we do graphic design, we need to add the Obama PNG. That specific Obama PNG. So let me get it real quick. You know, I feel like this stream has really gone off the rails a little bit. I feel like we've lost the plot a little bit. There you go. Imagine. Oh, true. Put Jessica on the hand. That's true. That's true. That's true. Wait, why is it not? Why is it not above? I moved it above. Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, no, true. Now, now we need the text to explain the Obama joke. That's true. True. Hold on, let me write something. Let me write something real quick. Label the font. Who's Obama here for? Obama for invaluable moral support. There you go. There you go. That's the placeholder. We're gonna keep this as a placeholder. Invaluable moral support. If any of you come up with something better, I'm gonna put easier for us. Hold on. I'm gonna put that easier for us. And I'm gonna put like a little heart. True, wait, it should be in Comic Sans, you're right. Fuck, I'm so stupid, it should be in Comic Sans, you're right. There you go, Obama is here for us. Can you make the text red? Yes, I can make... I can make the text red, yes. There you go. Will you pull on Ave Mujica banner? No, it's such a bad banner. It's such a bad banner. I hate that collab. It's the most dissonant, like generic collab they could have went with. It's just like normal human schoolgirls in their schoolgirl uniform. Like low-key, if you get any Ave Mujica character, low-key, that's account damage. Because now you need to look at this basic-ass schoolgirl in your Arknights account. Like generic-ass schoolgirl in your Arknights account. That's low-key account damage. Yeah, Rainbow Six fit the Rhodes Island tactical aesthetic. What if one of them is meta? I'm just gonna borrow. I'm just gonna use the borrow feature, if that's the case. Like with Ella, right? With Ella. I hate Rainbow Six. I hate that game. So I didn't roll for Ella because I fucking despise Rainbow Six. And you know, when I need Ella, I just borrow her. I just borrow Ella from the support system. Danmeshi wasn't tactical, but it still fit. Like, Danmeshi still fit into the game. We have knights in the game. We have elves in the game. So it fit. We have dwarves in the game. So it fit. Look, the skins, I don't know, they're kind of mid. They're kind of mid, the skins. Yeah, we also have multiple idol singers, that's true, but like, they're all somewhat unique. No, they're all somewhat unique. Like, Sora has her whole shape-shifting thing. Fucking Haruka, too, Haruka, yeah, I can see why she wouldn't fit, but that's just because of the art style. The issue with Haruka is the art style. She doesn't fit because of the art style. The design would fit in Arknights, even for Haruka. Meanwhile, the Ave Mujica girls, they're just fucking schoolgirls. Basic-ass schoolgirls. Even, like, you know, the Ursus students who are schoolgirls, they still have, like, an elaborate design. They still have somewhat of an elaborate school uniform design. It's not just a basic-ass realistic school uniform. What do you mean, Iron? What do you mean, what happened? I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. But the skins seem to make them Terran. Okay, the skins are also 90 Originite. To buy all of them, it's 90 Originite. You know, just so you know, just so you know. Just so you have that in mind. No, I'm not making an Uma Musume video. Oh yeah, I know what it's like with school uniforms. Yeah, I also had to buy one time, and then I never wore it. I never actually wore it in school. Yeah, I know what you mean, Sailor Gun. Yeah, you know, I didn't try Uma Musume, but I don't think I would like it. It's a spectator sport. It's a management thing. I don't really fuck with that kind of game. But what if Uma Musume collab? Depends on who they put in. Depends on who they put in. If they put in like a Tachyon, if they put in a Rice Shower, if they put in Manhattan Cafe, that's peak. SUPAH, have you made peace with your death? No. I'll think about it when we get there. I'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, exactly. Imagine doing horse racing in 2025. We go to like gacha banners. In 2025, we spend the life savings on gacha banners and day trading, as Silvergun said, day trading. Dude, I don't get the appeal. I don't get the appeal with Uma Musume. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I might be a stupid dummy, but no, I don't get it. same vein as the DMC collab. Yeah, you know, that's a thing. That's a thing with a lot of collabs for Arknights, right? Like DMC, like a bunch of other stuff. Characters from other franchises, usually they're just way too strong. They would just solve like every problem in Terra. If you put Virgil and Dante and Nero in Terra, they just solo everything. They solo Priestess, they solo the Seaborns. They just lay waste to all of Terra. So like, how do you make a story with that, right? How do you make a story for the collab if the collab characters just fucking one-shot everything, you know? Yeah, same thing for the Persona collab, honestly. Like, the Persona protagonists are extremely powerful. Yeah, sure. Maybe for Dante, you can argue that he's a lazy ass, so he just wouldn't be bothered. That's true. But like, what about Nero or like Virgil? You know, what about Nero and Virgil? You plop Virgil into Terra. Motherfucker, oh, I have to seek power. He goes to Priestess and he's like, give me power. And Priestess is like, no, go fuck yourself, who are you? And Virgil is like, you women are all the same. And he kills her. You know, that's how I think it would go down. Vigil goes up to Priestess for power, but then he goes like full incel on her. He goes full incel. He's like, you women are all the same. You know what, that's something that's really cool about the ship girls in Azur Lane, that they have like a huge artillery with them. We need an operator. We need an operator that just has like a huge piece of artillery with them. Fury was a really good game back when I played it. You know, the issue is that I played it when I was like fucking 14, so I was, you know, just a little piece of shit embryo basically, and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't finish Fury. But you know, it was good for the portion that I played. That operator would have 5 ammo and nuke the whole map. Maybe have it be like Horn, but you know, same range as Horn, but it's like 10 times bigger. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quickly. You people enjoyed the gameplay, and if someone joins, okay? If someone joins and asks what's going on, don't explain it, okay? Don't explain anything. If someone joins while I'm gone and asks what is happening, okay, I'll go. Okay, I'm back. I have returned. So what happened when I was gone? You know what, guys? We're nearing 3 hours. We are nearing 3 hours. Yes, I washed my hands. And I used the soap. Guess what? I washed my hands and I used the soap. Can you even believe that? We just, you know, people don't do that anymore. I just watched my boss get fired. Is that a good or a bad thing? Is that a good or a bad thing? Look at Mr. Clean over here. He must be OCD. Oh, it's a good thing, and then I'm glad, sister. Alright, people, we are nearing 3 hours. We are nearing 3 hours. Give me a topic. One last topic before we end it all. Before I end it all. Before I do it for real and end it all. The stream, of course. Before I end the stream. You know, end it all, the stream. Give me a topic. Okay, pathological lying, that's a good topic. Obama, that's a good topic. Pissing techniques, that's a great topic. Writing, that's very vague. Like, what do you mean? Writing. Elaborate on schizophrenia. You know what? I could. Are you guys interested in a little lesson on schizophrenia? Are you guys interested in a little lesson about schizophrenia? Iron, I need you to shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Oh my god, spamming the chat. I need you to shut the fuck up. Oh my god. I acknowledged you. I acknowledged what you said. Stop spamming the fucking chat. The psychology behind the sadomasochism, there's a lot of aspects to it. It could come from actual psychological reasons, or it could come from, you know, you just think it's hot, you know? You know, sadomasochism could have deep psychological reasons that trace back to childhood. Or, you know, the person could just think that it's hot. That's, you know... Do you think it's hot? Kind of, yeah. Yeah, kind of. Okay, so let's talk about schizophrenia. Let's talk about schizophrenia a little bit. Which, you know, makes it funny that we're talking about, you know, such a serious thing when the screen looks like this. So, you know. So, schizophrenia. You need to understand that schizophrenia is not one disorder. In reality, schizophrenia is the combination of two disorders. It's a combination of schizotypal disorder and schizoid disorder. So, when a person has both schizoid and schizotypal, that, you know, does a little fusion dance and becomes schizophrenia. So, to understand schizophrenia, you need to understand schizoid and schizotypal. So, let's begin with what is it? Just say my name. So let's begin with schizoid. Let's begin with schizoid. Schizoid is characterized by antisocial behavior and a difficulty to feel emotions and interact socially. So, let me explain. Someone that is schizoid isn't just asocial, is not just unsocial, is not just a loner. They are anti-social. Anti-social means that they fucking hate social interaction. They hate interacting with others. They hate participating in the social game that is life. It's antagonism towards social situation. What else? There's also the difficulty in feeling emotions properly. So the person with schizoid disorder will have a more difficult time feeling pleasure, feeling joy, feeling happiness, feeling even fear or sadness and such. On the other hand, we have the schizotypal disorder, which is written like this. Let me, since someone asked in chat, let me write it down. It's written like this, schizotypal. So, what is schizotypal? Schizotypal is characterized by magical thinking. It's characterized by superstition, like a really insane superstition, and fully believing that superstition. And this is where the hallucinations come from. The schizotypal part of schizophrenia is where the visual and auditory hallucinations come from. And for example, this is characterized by belief in insane conspiracy theories, or belief in insane superstition, and such, and of course the hallucinations. So when you saw a flat earther is schizotypal, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. A schizotypal can be a flat earther. If the belief in the flat earth becomes pathological, then yes, that would be a schizotypal. Are all sociopaths/psychopaths schizoids? No, because yes, both of them lack empathy. That is the through line. They struggle to feel emotions. But sociopaths and psychopaths are not antagonistic towards sociality. They are not antagonistic towards social engagement. Meanwhile, the schizoids, they are anti-social, they are antagonistic. Yeah, it's about believing something in opposition to any evidence, or believing something without evidence. So in this case, a schizotypal flat earther would be absolutely certain the Earth is flat, even if they went into space and they saw that the Earth is round. That's what a schizotypal flat earther would be like. Even if they saw, by going into space, that the Earth is round, they would still believe that it's flat. They would be like, oh, it was a projection screen, I was drugged, they did tricks to my eyes, they manipulated my brain. That's what they would think. Not denial, not denial. Denial is not necessarily pathologic. No, denial is not necessarily pathologic. Yeah, it's delusion. It's complete delusion. That's a better word for it. It's not denial, it's delusion. So yeah, having strong delusions is a symptom of schizotypal. It's one of the many symptoms of schizotypal. And yeah, when you combine schizoid and schizotypal, you get schizophrenic. Now, did you guys know that schizophrenic people have dogs that help them with hallucinations? Did you guys know that? Some schizophrenic people get assigned help dogs that help them with hallucinations. For example, if they see a person, if the schizophrenic sees a person, they can go, doggy, say hi to the person. If the dog doesn't say hi to the person, then they know it's a hallucination. Yeah, like, not exactly like those suffering from PTSD, that's a different job. That's a different job, but yeah, it's a support dog that is meant to identify hallucinations. What if the dog has a schizophrenia too? I don't think schizophrenia happens in dogs. I don't think schizophrenia happens in dogs. But yeah, Nicole, the dog is there in their home life. What if, you know, the patient lives alone? What if they live alone in an apartment? Then you need the dog to confirm it, because there's no one else. In a sense, you are asking the dog if it's real or not. Okay, yeah, they could think that the dog is tricking them. That's where the psychologist comes in. That's when the psychologist has to, you know, convince the patient that the dog is trustworthy, that they should trust the dog. Of course, you know, there gets a point where, again, schizophrenia is a gradient. There is light schizophrenia and there is severe schizophrenia. If the schizophrenia is severe enough, then yeah. Yeah, the point of the treatment is to ground them in reality. Yeah, exactly. The dog is meant to recognize hallucinations, so it grounds them back into reality. I was gonna say something. I feel like I was gonna say something, but I completely forgot my train of thought. This is like the 4th time that it happened this stream. This is like the 4th time that I completely lost my train of thought. Is cynicism a symptom of schizophrenia? Not really. Like, cynicism is a normal emotion. Like, yeah, it can become pathological. It depends how this cynicism manifests itself. It depends how it manifests itself and such. Cynicism on its own is not cause for concern. You know? Like, just because something is a symptom of something else, that doesn't mean that that thing is inherently pathological, you know? For example, paranoia and anxiety are symptoms of larger mental disorders, but by themselves, that doesn't mean that paranoia and anxiety are inherently pathological, you know? Will a schizophrenic hallucinate something straight from a horror movie, not over the top, so there's no defense whether it's real? I mean, it could happen. Hallucinations are a product of your mind, so it could really be anything. It could be something as mundane as seeing an apple on the counter that isn't really there, or it could be something as severe as seeing monsters, you know? Are you a psychology major? Yeah, I'm majoring. Like, I'm currently majoring in psychology, yeah. Alright, that's what I wanted to explain. Hold on, let me look up the translation in English. Okay, so here's a fun fact. Here's a little fun fact for all of you in chat. There is a difference between hallucinations and hallucinosis. There is a difference. An hallucinosis is something that you see but isn't there, and you know that it's not there. So when you have an hallucinosis, you know that it's not real. When you have an hallucination, you don't know that it's not real. The person doesn't know that the hallucination is not real. There's a difference. There's a difference between hallucination and hallucinosis. So there's a fun fact for you guys. It's not a hallucination. It's not really a hallucination. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. The thing that like you see a shadow in the corner of your eye, that's because your brain, right, has to process. That's the oh my god, your brain has to process everything that your eyes receive. Of course, things at the corner of your eye are gonna be more vague, and your brain has to fill in those gaps. So that's the shadows that you think you see. It's a normal process, it's not a hallucination. Does the definition of hallucinosis only cover products of your brain or things caused by your eyes' optical nerves? Yes, okay, hallucinosis and hallucination only cover things that are created by your mind. If it is caused by like nerve damage in your eyes, that's a different thing. That's, we're going into neuropsychology. If we're talking about frayed nerves or broken nerves, that's neuropsychology. It's a different thing. What we're talking right now is clinical psychology, what we're talking about right now. So yes, hallucinosis and hallucinations are strictly things that are produced by your mind, which is otherwise physically healthy. So, if the dog confirms the hallucination, isn't there? Yes, if the dog confirms the hallucination, it becomes an hallucinosis, because now you know that it's not real, so it becomes an hallucinosis. But you know, typically, when you talk about hallucination and hallucinosis, it's do you think it's real or not when it forms, when it first forms, you know? Can my brain nerves actually get fried? Yes. Like, yeah, straight up, yeah, they can actually get fried, yeah. There's several things that could fry your brain nerves. What about the things you see like a movement, like your brain thinks, let's say a hand coming out of the bed frame or something like that? Okay. That depends. Do you see a literal hand coming out of your bed frame? Like you can look at it directly, you see a hand coming out of it? Then yes. That could be an hallucinosis or hallucination. I know your thoughts about people with alexithymia. I have met one patient when I'm in FSJ program. He freaks me out. Okay, hold on. I'm not like an encyclopedia that remembers every name. Let me look that one up. Oh, emotional blindness. Right, yeah. Well, it's definitely a struggle. It's definitely a struggle to interact with people like this, and especially to help people like this. You know, it's really difficult. But you need to keep in mind that they're not malicious. You know, a person with emotional blindness is not malicious in the way they act. It's just that their brain can't process emotions very well. Alexithymia is emotional blindness. It's emotional blindness. It's the inability to recognize emotions. Let me read the definition. Significant difficulty in identifying, understanding, and expressing one's own emotions, often described as having no words for feelings. That's what it is. And I'm saying, the people that act like this, they're not malicious in intent. Is that different from lacking empathy? Yes. Because people who lack empathy can still understand emotions. They still comprehend emotions. That's why a sociopath or a psychopath can emulate emotions. They can copy emotions. They can understand it. A person who lacks empathy can still comprehend emotions. A person with alexithymia doesn't experience, for example, anger at all. I wouldn't say at all. I wouldn't put the blanket statement of at all. I would say they have a great difficulty. A great difficulty in it. No, I'm not studying psychiatry. I'm not going into psychiatry. Psychiatry is just too much effort. I'm doing psychology right now, not psychiatry. It's way too much effort for psychiatry. Yeah, they could also not recognize its anger. There's also that. There's layers to it, Skybird. There's several layers. It depends on the person. It depends on the patient that you're examining. Yeah, there you go. There's an account from Silvergun. Personal retelling from Silvergun. A lot of psychopaths get into medicine just because you lack empathy doesn't automatically make you a terrible person. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Lacking empathy does not necessarily make you a terrible person. That's true. That's a correct statement. Even if other people's emotions do not affect you, you can still, you know, behave correctly. You can still understand those emotions and such. Yeah. What defines motivation or drive? The lack of it is a psychological or psychiatric problem? Well, yeah, the lack, like the complete lack of motivation. Even if you want to be motivated, the complete lack of motivation, that is defined as a disorder, as a mental disorder. The thing with motivation, though, is that it can be difficult to find for a lot of people. My pro tip on motivation is to set very small, very achievable goals. For example, one time I was talking with this person. She was asking me, Supa, how do I get motivation for drawing? Right? How do I stay motivated for drawing? And she explained to me, it was like, you know, I want to do this professionally at some point, but you know, I sit down to draw and I am not satisfied with what I make. I feel disappointed and then I lose all motivation. And I explained to her that, you know, she is having trouble having motivation because she set a goal that's way too big. She was drawing with this nebulous, vague, long-term goal of, oh, I want to do this professionally. And that is such a long-term, far-off goal that it's like the day by day, it will feel like you achieved nothing. Because it's such a big goal that in the day by day, you're gonna feel like you achieved nothing. So, instead, I told her, instead of drawing with oh, I want to do this professionally, draw with goals that you can achieve that day. With a goal that you can achieve when you sit down and draw today. So, for example, you can be like, today I want to practice hands. Today I want to practice eyes. Today I am gonna make one sketch to learn anatomy. Today I am gonna listen to a YouTube tutorial and follow along. These small objectives that contribute to the big one, you know? But you can still achieve in the day by day. That is the trick, quote unquote, with motivation. Often people lose motivation because they set goals that are way too long term, goals that are way too distant, vague, and nebulous, right? Instead, sit down and get something smaller, achieve something smaller, buy iron, achieve something smaller, you know? For example, with writing, let's take writing as something else. Be like, the long-term goal is writing the book. But of course, if you sit down, you're not gonna be able to write a full-ass book, you know? So, the short-term goal is like, today I want to write a page. Today I want to write this dialogue. Today I want to write this little description. of this environment, and so on, that eventually is gonna contribute to make the whole book. Or studying. Let's talk about studying, right? With studying, you need to realize that it's like little progress is better than zero progress. A lot of people are like, oh, what's the point, you know? If I do this, it's gonna be a so little progress. What's the point? Still do it. 1% progress is better than 0% progress. What about losing motivation for something simple from a game, like something that is easy to do? Or would that be more of a sign of being burned out? Yeah, that's a sign of burnout. To combat burnout, you take a break. Take a break from the game, come back when you feel like it. Okay, Jans. The issue with the explorer's mindset, the issue with it is that conceptually, it's a wonderful idea. I get what you mean. By just exploring and doing things, you are cultivating yourself, you know? You are, and I don't know how to say it, but like, I get what you mean. It's like when you play Minecraft and you go in without any objective, just exploring the world and relaxing and taking in the sights. I get what you mean, you know, to stop and smell the flowers. The issue with that is that it doesn't breed motivation. For a lot of people, that doesn't breed motivation. That's the issue with that mindset. For a lot of people, they need a goal to go towards, to be motivated. Again, it depends on the person. But majority of people, at least from what I've witnessed, need some sort of goal to achieve, to go towards. Do you study in Italian or in English? I study in Italian. What if you are burned out for life for years? Okay, that's the thing. You are not taking a break. That's the thing. You are not taking a break. You are doing the same shit every day. You sit at the computer, you lay down in bed, you study, you don't do anything, you eat, sleep, work, then play some games. That's the thing. You do the same thing every day, so you are not taking a break. You need to take a break. Do something new. Do something you haven't done before. Do something to reignite your fucking soul. Because if you are burnt out with life, that indicates that every day is sort of blending together. And you need to realize that if you do nothing, then nothing changes. You are the agent in your own life. If you want change, you need to enact change. Goals make me feel stuck. Yeah, as I said, it depends on the person. Majority of people... How do you take a break when you feel bad for doing nothing? That's not what I said. I didn't say do nothing. That's not what I said. That's the thing. I didn't say do nothing. If you sit down and do nothing, you are just gonna rot. And that's not gonna work. You are not taking a break, because you're just gonna sit there and rot. What you need to do is something different. You need to do something new, something different. That's what you need to do. You need to enact change. And there is no time to change up your lifestyle. What if too busy with work, study, etc.? that's the thing though. That's the thing though. You can change your study schedule. You can get a healthier studying schedule. Or you know, it's work. You don't work every day of every hour, you know? The time off work, that's when you can put in that change. You can change those schedules. Or at the very least, work around those schedules. There is nothing that will keep you occupied for 24 hours. There is no person that is busy for 24 hours. If you were in a world and couldn't read the local language, could not speak, the locals do not understand your language and do not understand them, how would you communicate? Well, I would try to communicate in gestures. I would try to understand their gestures and try to communicate with that. Again, you need to understand you are the agent in your own life. If you do nothing, then nothing changes. If you want change, you must enact change. What if you can... What you can do if you want to do many things, but don't feel like you have the time to do it, you just end up doing the things you already do. Luiki, the issue with that is you are looking at the many things like a whole. You are like, I want to do this and this and this and this and this, and then you just do nothing because there's no time to do this, this and this and this. Pick one thing. Out of everything you want to do, pick one thing and be like, next time I have free time, I will do that thing. Then, when you do that, you move to the next thing. And you do that, and so on. The trick, again, the trick, quote, is seeing things one at a time. Instead of grabbing the whole of, I wanna do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, do it one step at a time. I want to do this. Then, after that, this. After that, this. But look at one thing at a time. Pick one and be like, that. Next time I have free time, I'll do that. Is there a cure for ADHD? No, not really. There's medication, there's lifestyle changes, there's diet changes, but there's not really a cure. You know, many things, like many mental disorders, they don't really have a cure, no? Oh, I am moving my hands. That's the thing, I am moving my hands. Yeah, that's true, that's true. That's a good way to put it, like a character class. You come up with different ways to function. That's how you come up with different ways to function. But no, there's not really a cure for it, unfortunately. I know someone who is experiencing depression because their cats died, and I've talked with the parents about it, and I kinda waved away because it's just cats. What could I do? Okay, so grief. We're talking about grief here. The thing with grief is that you can't really make it go away on command. You need to really process that grief. Oh my god. Fucking all of you are about to grieve me. Oh my god. So that friend of yours, you need to give them time to process this. You need to, you know, be there for them. You need to be supportive. And the thing with grief, it just has to blow past, you know, it has to blow by. You know, there's no way to really make it go away. Eventually, you're just gonna get used to life without that person or without the cats. And you know, when that is gonna happen, no one can tell when that's gonna happen. But one day, it will. But do you take a medication? Not for any mental disorder. I don't take any medication for mental disorders, no. Because I'm only diagnosed with Anhedonia. That's the only thing that I have. Diagnosed, at least. Anhedonia, and that doesn't have medication. Like, straight up, there's not any medication for Anhedonia. What is one advice you can recommend when facing anxiety, especially at social settings? I explained this before. I'm not sure if you were there during the stream. I explained this before. The thing with anxiety and with panic is that they're not rooted in reality. They are rooted fundamentally in unreality. So, what you have to do is tether yourself back to reality. So what does your anxiety say? It says, oh, I'm gonna do something embarrassing in this social setting, and I'm gonna embarrass myself, and it's gonna be terrible and awful and disastrous, and I'm gonna die. You need to realize that's not real. That's not a real thing that really happens in reality. But how can you ground yourself? There is some things called grounding techniques. One of them, the most easy one, you can look at any object around you and just note every detail you can think of about that object. Eventually, you should be pulled back to reality. Or in general, right? You should do things that engage your brain. Right? So for example, if you watch a movie, if you play a video game, you should do something that forces your brain to be engaged with it. Nothing mindless. What that will do is it will pull you back to reality, you will be calmer, so now you can look at the situation from more logical lenses. And once you do that, you can be like, okay, now that I'm calmer, now that I'm calm, what is the reality of this situation? What is the real effects that this will really have, realistically? And that's how you pull yourself out of anxiety. Or maybe if it's like performance anxiety, you can be like, okay, let's look back at all my past attempts at this. Did I do good? Did I do bad? And if I did bad, where could I improve? And so on. You know? Do you only experience anhedonia with no other MDD symptoms? Yeah. Yeah, as far as I know, I am like the only person that I know of that only has anhedonia without any other major depression symptoms. I don't have a major depression. I don't have like anything else that would come with major depression. I just have anhedonia. Like, I am not depressed. I am quite happy with life in general. It is pretty interesting, I will say. It is pretty interesting. I always feel a sharp pain in the middle of my chest. Okay, if it's literally always, you might check in with a doctor about that. You might have to check in with a doctor. What does anhedonia really feel like? I just don't feel pleasure for like 90% of things. I don't feel any intrinsic motivation, you know? I just don't have intrinsic motivation. You know, my motivation is completely external. It's purely, entirely external. There is nothing going on inside me. And the same thing with like playing games or making videos and stuff, I don't really enjoy it, you know, intrinsically. It's always like some external factor that makes me do them, because I don't really feel that pleasure, that intrinsic pleasure of like a creation, or the intrinsic pleasure of playing games. I think you have it the same way as my friend. Well, I'm glad to know there's more of us then. I'm glad to know I'm not alone on this earth. You know, that's comforting. Bro, I've been trying to put on a bracelet for like a full 20 minutes. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me fiddling with it. I've been trying to put on this fucking bracelet for like a full 20 minutes, and I just cannot for the fucking life of me. Do people with Anhedonia feel pleasure when jerking it? Well, yeah, because that's a biological reaction. That's a biological thing, so yes, the Anhedonia is mental. It's about mental reactions and emotions. It's not about the physical reality of it. The physical reality is unchanged. I managed to put on the bracelet, by the way. I managed to put it on, finally. Are you seeking therapy? No, I'm just chill. Honestly, I'm just chill with the Anhedonia. I have learned to live with it. Honestly, it's been like helpful. In some cases, it's been helpful. Because it's not just the pleasure, it's not just the joy that is muted for me. It's every emotion, just in general, like emotions in general are muted for me. And that's been helpful. That's been helpful. Okay, so Siblegan, the divide between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation is very simple. Extrinsic motivation is just anything external, is the seeking of a prize or the avoiding of a punishment. Intrinsic motivation is motivation that isn't born from a reward and that isn't born from avoiding punishment. That's the difference. That's the difference. It's really simple. Yeah, yeah, let me jingle the bracelet. Hold on. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I'm jingling the bracelet right now. Would you suggest me to get like a notepad? Yeah, you, Finlandia, with your memory issues, you should get a notepad to write things down, and you should set alarms on your phone. Like, you know, alarms on your phone to remind you of stuff. Anyway, does Anhedonia stop you from enjoying things like, say, vacations? Yes, actually, yeah. Like, I have no desire to go on vacation. For me, the vacation is staying at home at my PC. I am perfectly content. I have no interest in vacationing somewhere else. Absolutely no interest. If you feel something is rewarding on its own, that is considered intrinsic. Yeah, if something is rewarding of its own accord, that is intrinsic. Like, if I enjoy painting with no plans to sell my crap, that's intrinsic, yes. But if I jerk off, that's extrinsic. Honestly, I don't know if I would say jerking off is extrinsic. I don't know if I would say that jerking off is extrinsic. Because, like, you're jerking off because it itself is rewarding, not because of some external reward. So I wouldn't, I don't think I would call it extrinsic jerking off. Do you experience anhedonia when you think about Gummy? I experience anhedonia when I think about anything. Like, I experience anhedonia all the time because that's just how my brain is. Has control with the locus of control, since you say outside factors do motivate you. I feel that's different. I feel my locus of control is fine. Like, personally, from my own experience, I've felt that my locus of control is perfectly fine. Because it doesn't really affect that. In any case, people, I think it's about time we end the stream. Thank you all for being here. Let me purge everything. Everyone, say goodbye to Obama. Say goodbye to the minion meme, everyone. Before I scrub them like a Squidward. Let me... There you go. Goodbye, Jessica. Goodbye, Obama. Goodbye, minion meme. Goodbye, text. Goodbye, game number 4. Goodbye, game number 3. Goodbye, game number 2. Goodbye, game. Is your anhedonia your motivation to pursue psychology? I guess, because like, I pursue psychology because I like it, it's useful, and I am good at it. Which is, you know, a very pragmatic way to think, which is born from the anhedonia. So like, my reason to pursue psychology is born from my anhedonia because it's very pragmatic. But, so I guess, yeah, indirectly. Alright, people, max out your Gummy. Max out your Gummy, people. See you at the end of September. See you at the end of September with the next end of the month sitting down and talking. Bye bye, everybody.